Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Faizan, SoftwareWala, level 1 student at Ram School, Islamabad campus. Today we are honored to welcome Sean Clisgens, a visionary entrepreneur, business consultant, a life coach, humanitarian, and the founder of Flowscope TV and Live Mastery Systems. So let's start. First of all, sir, welcome to the show. And could you please introduce yourself and tell us about your journey to our viewers?
Well, thank you. Yes, hi, I'm Sean Clisgens. It's Sean, S-E-A-N, Sean Clisgens. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, I guess you could say. I am a life coach, consultant, ethicist, and then my current big focus is on the Flowscope, ECC, and LMN, which is Evolutionary Collaboration Community, and the Life Mastery Network, which is where the Life Mastery Systems, resides. It's a subsidiary now of that community and that project, Flowscope. So yeah, and Flowscope.tv is a part of that as well.
That's really great, sir. I really appreciate your introduction. So my next question from you is, yeah, growing up in Rochester, New York, what experience shaped the person you are today?
Well, it's interesting. I was born in Rochester, but my mother and father split and divorced, and I moved to Florida and grew up there from the age of 4 until about 13. And then I returned to upstate New York, and my schooling was really accelerated. So I would say somehow I was fortunate or blessed to have uh, a pathway that offered me the opportunity to be uh, well advanced at school. So, like as example, so I graduated with coursework at the University of Rochester and studying chemistry and psychology when I graduated high school simultaneously in Rochester. So I think that the choices that I was able to develop and make and options that I made for myself allowed for me to go at a faster pace in education. And by necessity, because I was independent quite young, once I moved back to Rochester, New York, I no longer was dependent on my parents any longer. I was independent. And so it's an endless path to this point right here, truthfully. But Rochester, the University of Rochester was significant with me because of education in chemistry, quantum mechanics,
Great.
and psychology.
Sir, one thing I want to add that I like your all the qualification. I really like.
Thank
Okay.
you. I didn't mean to do it for, it's a journey, but I live life. I live life on purpose. I feel that I've worked hard in different ways that shaped me. So, Florida, down in Florida, I would say that, the grandmaster, my master that taught me kung fu and also taught me to meditate at a very young age. It was just a requirement, a part of every uh, core class at the dojo and stuff like that. And it became a regular habit and part of my life. So I would say he is one of those people that in my life, even though he did not really uh, participate, for many, many, many years. And I'm sure, he's long deceased now because he was almost 100 years old when I met him, and I'm 53. So, so Florida had a big influence. There's different people in and out of my life always. And I was very blessed to have this amazing group of people throughout my life in different areas that I lived. So,
Okay, that's really great. So my next question from you that what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and life coach?
well, I that's an interesting question because to make it a profession, I got involved with a program and a group of people, and um, I was at a transition point in my life, and I really didn't go into it intending to become a coach. I went into it to be coached because I had reached a certain level of achievement that, as a financial advisor and financial planner in Albany, New York, and I had my family, and it's it's funny because as people we often are chasing after. If I just had this, I'd be happy. If I just had that, I'd be happy. And then all of a sudden, you I guess it's fortunate. I arrived at a place where I pretty much had, there was just bigger now. It was just bigger and more stuff, but I had achieved what I had, what I thought what I would be happy, would make me happy, and I wasn't. And so I was at a point for transition in my life that I thought was, and so I became a coach in that program within days. And but I've always, I'm a grandmaster in kung fu. I don't practice anymore, and I don't teach right now. I teach a lot of meditation, and I'm a Zen master and a Tai Chi master. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Okay. So, was there a turning point in your life that changed your direction? Yes.
my turning point, that what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay, okay. I again repeat. Was there a turning point in your life that changed your direction?
Yeah, what we were just talking about. I ended up actually selling my financial practice, and I went full time into coaching and training and facilitating coaches, facilitating trainings, development of curriculum and coursework. And so, and I became an ethicist, and selective and a specific type of executive and advanced life coach, and also ethical business consultant and financial consultants, because finance was my background 30 years ago and 25 years ago, and then I got into this, and so and I coached for a long time, but I became very ill. I became so ill. I was like physically, and I was disabled. They thought I was going to die, and so that was, there were several instances like that throughout my life also, where in this particular platform, the evolutionary collaboration community is an online platform and application for the collaborators of individuals seeking to evolve humanity in a ethical, moral way. And I believe that is intentional. And then things that I offer within that system are like evolvement is a zone. And that's where the life mastery systems and the entire 480 module curriculum, it's a 4-year program if you work hard at it, and it's all, there, and where that's delivered and things. But it's also protected and safe, and I hate to say that because I'm not a fear monger, and I don't respond to fear and emotional response at or anger at me in a way in which is violent. I'm non-violent. I'm pro-life. I'm pro, and I'm anti-suffering, and all of that just is, for my heart, is the person crying out in need of relief of suffering that they have. And so, yeah, I've dedicated my life to the betterment of humanity.
That's really great and good one answer. So my next question from you is that who has been your biggest inspiration throughout your journey?
Well, I don't think I can say biggest and say just one. I mean, Jesus Christ and Buddha, the Bodhisattva, the Buddha, other historical thinkers and leaders. Um, I can't. The best is the part of that question that makes it impossible to answer. I guess me, to be really, and I'm not an uh, at all narcissistic or self ego imposed, but really, it's how do I inspire myself? But I am inspired all the time by people, every person, and every path. And because I live very present in the moment, and when I'm here fully. I am with you and we connect. There's an emergent property that happens from that connection. And so it never ends. It's just like any other energy and mass. There's no uh, the destruction is a point of view, from our point of view. There is nothing that just disappears, is gone. It's either energy or mass, and it's in a conversion period. I don't know if that answered your question, but I can't really say best because every interaction, even this one with you, is an honor and a privilege for me, and I take them all very we all only have 24 hours in a day, assuming time, the way we perceive and how we measure and use it in our as a tool. And so the choice of our interaction isn't, it is. So thank you. That's how I feel about every single person. And later on, sometimes it's many years later that you realize the impact that that person, like my sensei, who just it was just an automatic thing of meditation, but he taught me to meditate. And then I got benefit from it, from the repetitiveness of having to do it. As a kid, I didn't like it. At first, to be truthfully, I didn't even really like it. I was like, what do I think about, or whatever, I remember my head just going off. But now I've had I've had consciousness awakening times and moments, which are certainly intertwined with that person. So there are people, too many, and I don't mean dishonor to anybody, and I'm specifically not naming any names because I feel interconnected and interrelated to each and every person always that was in my life ever. And and when I say that, I guess ever, like we genetically all come back to some roots we don't even know about.
Okay, that's really good. So how would you describe yourself in 3 words? In 3 words, you want to describe you.
Unconditionally loving, joy filled.
That's really great. I really like your answer. Okay, so what personal values have guided you throughout your career?
Once again, I'm sorry.
Okay, I said that. What personal values have guided you throughout your career?
Well, yeah. To me, inner honesty and integrity are the foundation of it all. I think that I'm a scientist, so I like to operate within the data. Uh, and I like to explore the world and create and play with the world and then see and measure and get reproducible, verifiable results. And so the values that are highest to me, besides honesty and integrity, uh, ethical morality, um, life, life, human life, all life, Earth, pro planet, pro and exploration. I'm just a. It's just an amazing. We get the privilege of waking up and having this bio suit, body interaction interface with the magnificence of God or reality or universe or singularity or whatever. I don't, whatever name you use that pays respect to the awe, of this whole thing. So to me, it's the magnificence of love, unconditional love, and ever present blissful joy through experience and experiential momentary awareness and presence. So I think that community, family, humanity, these are all very high values as well. Love, light.
Okay. So, what does the little mindful visionary mean to you,
What?
sir? What does
Say
the
it.
what does the little mindful visionary mean to you?
A little mindful visionary?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I don't know what that is. I'm a mindful visionary. What that means is that I'm present and I'm mindful of my choices and I take responsibility for those choices. And I am also compassionate and forgiving and accepting, flexible in all my assumptions.
Okay. So, your motto is creating change that improves lives. What inspired this mission,
One more time.
sir? Your motto is creating change that improves lives. What inspired this mission?
Well,
MOTTO, motto.
because change is always it is occurring always. One of the neat experiences for me is the change, particularly in humanity. That's why the life mastery systems are a verifiable, reproducible scientific system that can be measured uh, to demonstrate the change. And so a specific limitation, which the person probably perceives as an outside limitation to some degree, and or, and in most cases, that isn't. It's a belief system, so if I work a specific process that I have in the systems with you on an issue where you keep bumping up on the same thing and you try different things, you think and you're trying different things and you don't get there. Well, so that's it. That my life, I that's really an expression of what I improving my life always and the lives of everyone I touch. My motto is if my path and your path cross, then I want to do everything I can in whatever time I have in that interaction to do something and everything I can that your life be better off in some way or another as an effect of having met me. And I want my life better off. And so I'm seeking how can I do that and what's better off and what do I value? And that's what people have to ask because it's not exactly the same for everybody. And it's not a material things. It's not a money thing. I'm talking about the values of just, so you can be present in your life and sit in love. And so if I can inspire any shift in anybody that like this touches ever, and that person, as a result of having listened to me, even they have some spark that inspires them.
Okay, I have a question for you that what does success mean to you? How can I achieve a success in today's life?
Well, that's funny. That's a great question. Success to me, I look at it, I don't believe a person is a success or a failure. I think a person is a success. You wake up and you eat and you move around and you sleep and you have body function and this magnificent 1 trillion atoms and billion cells, are working together in some sort of and perception. It's success. Okay, but success really to me has to do with goals, and that's what really differentiates. If you're on the program and you're being coached, a coach has to work with you, and I work hard to develop a system so that you can differentiate by measurable result. And then the goal doesn't change. You fail, you try, oh, I think this will work, and you try this thing and it fails. And then you look at what is the missing resource. You don't look at, well, how can I try that differently and fail again at it? But what's the missing resource there, is really the thing. And then you keep going and persist. So hopefully that answers your
You
question.
are a successful man for me.
Oh,
I like
well,
your success.
thank you.
You are too hard worker, man.
No, 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 no. What do
I
you,
know
to me,
about you. I
I live,
touch
I live,
you
on,
and
I live on essence and purpose. And so hard is not something the work that I do. And if it's not work that's important to me for a specific set of values that I want to see and create in the world, right? And that's what's improving my life, to me. And so I have my value set and you have your value set, and they're all unique and beautiful and magnificent. And we have a consistent value set we share. And so, and I urgently think that we need to do something about human consciousness and use it at the next level. And I think we can. And I think if we don't, we we're in some treacherous territory with some major technological things going on and other areas of science that we know about our lives. So let's preserve it together.
okay. So you founded Clisgens Integrated LLC. What inspired you to start your own company?
Well, I founded Clasgens Integrated LLC originally to have a personal. I, at the time, had been in the financial planning and advisory business for a number of years. I gravitated towards financial planning, fee-based, and estate planning and business succession planning. And so I decided that I wanted to have a personal LLC that I'm the managing member and sole member. So it doesn't really it just passes through income to its own tax identification number coming through to me, but it protects me from liability. And then that owns and originally owned Claskin's Integrated Financial Services, and that was what I ended up why I formed Claskin's Integrated to own it, Claskin's Integrated Financial Services and start my financial services business. And then quickly thereafter, I started business consultation.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone starting their first business?
Well, open and do business that is consistent with your personal essence and your personal values and goals and the things you like to do. So there's the formal application of to whatever governmental and tax collecting bodies, et cetera, that that's formation of a business is not hard, but it doesn't mean that you're in business necessarily. And just because you can do something and make money doesn't mean that's what you want to do, because the asset that you have, that each of us has right now in this moment, is right now in this moment. And it's the tally on the assets is not what's important. It's the what you're doing. And if you're good and you love what you're doing, and even if people don't at first, and or there's a small number of people who can relate and want to participate with you or whatever, um persist. So have a plan, have a goal, have the goal be consistent and with your internal and personal values, and then live your life doing what you love, and business, it will happen. And just persist with that goal, see the vision and keep going.
Okay, so what advice would you give to our viewers and to me for my good future?
Love yourself.
That's really great. Okay. So viewers, this was our today's interview. I hope you like it. I meet with a new guest next day, next topic. Thank you, Allah Hafiz. And that's really good one interview with you, sir. That's a nice piece. Okay.